going to join the boys. Today's ride, really, we're just gonna chill. We're gonna sit in, decide what pace we want to do, because it's kind of an off week for us. So we're just gonna go ahead and ad lib. And in fact, I think I would title this Sitting In or something like that. So we'll see. My brother's a little below the weather. He had a hectic week, but not sick, just a little tired from running around. You know how that gets. So we're gonna join the boys in a little bit, get some clips for you all.
On this ride, Paul and I left Northampton, rolled into the woodlands. We made good times, but we kind of took the long way around Alden Bridge. We picked up Team RR, went out on Fishcreek. There was a split in the group. They waited, we kept rolling the cart back up. You'll see all the action there, Capitol Hill, Raven Chapel, up until we got into Montgomery. After that, they spent so much time at the Taco Corner, so we left. And Paul and I headed up on 149, went on Bailey Grove, came back 1097, went behind the high school and took Spring Branch Road, cut through the Grand Lake Estates to our favorite road, Honye Egypt Road. That's all off camera. It was very, very breezy coming back, but we still made pretty good times. Very, very good ride. It was good to kind of get out there and brush off the cobwebs. It was a different kind of week. You know, I got to train, but not as much as I normally do, just busy with other stuff. So I think you will love the clips we got for you. We're leaving the Alden Village Center
today, and it's going to drop the temperatures. I don't know if you looked at the weather.
We're supposed to get a front here. Theoretically, it was supposed to drop the temperatures, but it was nice to get some rain. It came in on Sunday, early morning Sunday. The intent originally was to sit in, but once we got out there, you know, things never really happen like you planned. But you will see that we get on Fishcreek, and then guys act like they don't really want to ride, and they leave gaps, so they miss some of the lights. But if you're riding with the group, stay close if you want to stay with them, because if you hang back and leave gaps and you catch a red light, that might be the last you see of them. A lot of open rides, they're not going to wait for you. So these guys were acting like they didn't want to ride. You know, we turned on Fishcreek. I don't think we got them on camera, but we turned on Fishcreek and they slowed way down. So just a handful of us rode up the road. And at that point, I was ready to ride. I don't get up 5 o'clock in the morning to come and wait around for people. I don't have time for that. I got a certain amount of hours devoted to cycling the entire week, and I make the most of it being on the bike. Not sitting around at a coffee shop or eating pies or doing whatever. I do that on my own time. It's time to ride. I want to be turning the pedals. So even though we intended to sit in, that was not the case. We ended up, you know, just mixing it up a little bit. The group breaks up. By the time we get to 2854, I end up turning around. You'll see that. To go look for Paul. I didn't see him in Group B. I thought he was in like the third group because, you know, he wasn't feeling 100%. So he rode really well for how his week had gone. So and they got to Taco Corner and just sat there. People taking off their helmets, acting like they're gonna be there for a while. So after a bit, we just took off. It's time to finish our ride and get on with the day, do other things. The mornings is for cycling. The rest of the day, there's other things to do. By mixing things up, you don't get to where all you're doing is cycling and you don't let it interfere with other things you need to do. It's a part of your life. It's not your entire life. Even the pros do other things. So keep that in mind. You don't. There's only so many hours you can exercise. The body needs rest. So the rest of the time you can do other things. So I call this maintaining your cycling speed because the group is an encouragement for you to lift your pace because you're always responding to different things. It's a good thing to have. If they're not there, you just have to mentally be focused enough to work on lifting your pace by doing intervals or fartlek or whatever to mix up other than just long steady distance stuff. It says 24 Celsius, 75 degrees Fahrenheit. It feels warmer. It's kind of a muggy morning. We're on a slight grade here. Might be 1 or 2, yeah, 2%. It says 3 now, 4. I use a reasonably sized gear and just get out of the saddle to stretch my legs. I had a good training week, not many hours, but focused work. So if you want to improve in any sport or any endeavor, whether it's work, play, whatever, you've got to be consistent. There were people making announcements in the parking lot before we left. Oh, we've been off the bike for several weeks. Why? Why are you off the bike for several weeks? What kind of life do you have that you can't do what you love? I mean, come on, man. Quit selling all your time. You know, this is a lot cheaper than paying a doctor for drugs in the future because you neglected your health. I mean, come on. I hate to hear that crap. Being off for several weeks. You eat every day. You don't stop eating for several weeks. You eat every day. You need to work out every day. You know, at least 4 or 5 times a week, you need to get out there and do something. I don't care what it is. Swim, run, do something. You don't have to be on the bike, but my goodness, man. How you going to go several weeks off? That's hard on your body. So if you truly love what you're doing, whether it's running, cycling, swimming, whatever, it should be a part of your lifestyle. You don't stop eating and breathing. So why are you stopping your exercise wellness program? You're going to make time when you get an illness to go sit in a doctor's office and waste your time. So all they're going to do is give you drugs. They don't make you well. So be consistent. You love doing something? Plan for it, incorporate it in your life. Your time is yours. You don't need stuff. So balance it off. Give up some of the stuff and enjoy the time that you have. Because all you have are these moments. Nobody guarantees you anything in the future. What you have is now. Live in the moment. That's all you've got. Nobody promises you that you'll be 75 and retire and be well enough to enjoy that retirement. So don't say, oh, I'm waiting until I stop working. Well, you're not guaranteed anything. So live in the moment. Take each day like it's your last and do all the things you love to do. You don't need to sell all your time to chase the mighty dollar. It's not going to take you anywhere. You can't take it with you. Never seen a Brinks truck behind a hearse. Not going to happen. As Paul Mooney said, the Egyptians tried to take their stuff.
Yeah, I did ride with the on a Friday.
So balance it off. Quit chasing all that stuff. You don't need it. Keep it simple. And give yourself more time for you.
Yeah, that story is horrible.
We're standing where there's a smell, some kind of sewer. It's like the wind shifted and we could smell it. I had to cover my nose. It smelled terrible. From time to time, it happens in this area. I don't know if it gets backed up or what, but it's a muggy morning and that's all you need. Smell that foolishness. But I'm serious about it. There's no point in you having a $15,000 bicycle that you can't ride. So keep your lifestyle simple and give yourself time. Don't sell all your time. If being fit is important to you. It doesn't come in a bottle. You got to get out there and get off your butt. I'm wearing a Souke jersey today. As you can see, the vents on the side, man, they're very comfortable. It was a very warm day. I had to unzip just a tad, but they breathe really well. And I will put the link to those arm screens I'm wearing because they're the first I've ever come across that I'm able to wear above 75 degrees Fahrenheit. They actually work. You feel the air going through them. And they're very inexpensive. I was very surprised. I got more expensive arm screens that I can't stand for 2 minutes. And they've just been collecting dust. If you look in the description of the video, they'll be there. And also the Souke jersey that I'm wearing. I like Souke. They make reasonably priced jersey. And I love their colorways. We just got a second team jersey from them in our desert colors, our actual orange. The first one they sent was kind of a reddish orange, and this one is like almost like orange or Arizona style color. It looks like you're out in rustic country. I really like what they did, and they're using the YKK zipper on our jerseys now. Makes it easier to handle one-handed. So it'll all be in the description. Use Veloharmony when you go to Souke Sports, SOUKE sports.com. There's a car coming. He slowed down early because some riders are probably cutting the corners. That's why we call the car up so people can be aware. But like I was saying, use Veloharmony as the code. When you go to Souke Sports, you'll get an extra 15% discount. They make good stuff. I will be releasing a video in the next coming week about their custom site because a lot of riders have contacted me about getting jerseys for big riders or whatever. They'll build you a custom jersey of one. There is no minimum. You can just buy a custom jersey, just one. Some riders have already bought our kit. They're displaying our custom design for those who want a copy of our custom kit. But you can also make your own. You can load pictures. I will cover in the video how to basically use their site. But after that, it's pretty intuitive. You can upload your own designs. They take SVG, JPEG, PNG, all that stuff. The vector stuff is good for you to upload in vector format if you can. That's what the SVG is. Because they can size your designs better if they have it in vector format. See these guys sliding to the left so they can go to the back. And this is where everybody starts to slow down. We hit the open road and they don't want to ride. We don't flip the camera around, but there's a bunch of people back there that leave a huge gap as we turn here. And look at Abby. He loves being at the back until it's time to come sit on the left side to be in the way. So we just go ahead and start riding. There's foolishness to do every week. Yeah, we get to that corner now. He's asking what the route is. When they were talking about the route in the parking lot, he was busy running his mouth instead of being quiet to listen. Now he wants to ask. Who you asking? We're already on the road. You'll figure it out. Got time for that. I don't waste my time with useless conversations. You'll see later in the ride, he starts calling me his twin and all kinds of nonsense while we're riding. I just ignored him. I ain't got time for that. I don't have time for useless conversation. I have time for genuine. So we're here because there's a big gap, like 3 or 4 car lanes. They're just sitting there. They're not even trying to come up here. So right here, I just decided, let's just go. The people who want to ride with us will come up. They act like they're scared to ride. They don't draft properly, so then they work harder when they shouldn't be working. And as a result, you're not going to last if you're sitting there leaving gaps. So we already have 2 groups that we just started riding. So when we got to Taco Corner, they acted like they were there for a siesta. So Paul and I took off. I'm like, we got other things to do. Spending 30 minutes sitting at a store. It's too long. They're changing the time. They want to leave 30 minutes earlier because, you know, we have daylight savings time now, and of course it's warmer. They want to leave at 7 in the morning. You can leave as early as you want. If you're wasting time stopping at stores and other stuff on the road, you're still going to waste time on the road. You'll be back just about the same time. They don't manage time very well, so they're leaving 30 minutes earlier. I don't believe it makes that much of a difference. You know, what they need to do is not stop at Taco Corner for 30 minutes. Then you'll get home at a reasonable time. Stop, fill up your bottle, and get going. These guys stop, they take off their helmets, they're wiping their faces with washcloths. I'm like, come on, please. I stop and I never have the desire to remove anything. If you're wearing the right stuff, you don't need to. They act like they're there for a while. We stop, we buy drinks, we get ice in a bottle, load it up, and get going. That's it. Stop long enough to pay for the drinks and load up. Don't sit around there. If you need to use the facilities, you do, and hit the road. You can talk while you're rolling out. There's a guy at the front who's pulling right now. His name is Andrew. I haven't been formally introduced to him. John Malbreck, who we call Shimpusan, told me last week what his name was. But it's like they make a discussion on how they're going to ride, and everybody starts to ride. The thing is, there is no particular way to ride. But if you're riding to where you're riding and breaking up the group all the time, eventually you end up with a smaller group, and that's fine. You can have groups on the road split up, and you will see, you know, in a few kilometers when they decide to wait for the guys who left this gap early in the ride that missed the traffic light. Paul and I continue kind of rolling on, and when they come back up, after they catch up to us, they're sitting on our wheel for a bit. I pull for a while, then he comes around and lifts the pace. But he lifts the pace to something that's not sustainable. Then he looks around. What are you looking around for? If you're gonna come around, you better be able to handle that pace, because when you come around, if I decide, even if I want to follow you, you're gonna be sitting up there for a while because you chose that pace. You're gonna show me that you can handle it. Don't lift the pace to a pace that you can't handle, then start looking around. What are you looking around for? If all you can do is 30 seconds at that pace, what is this gonna do for a 3-4 hour ride? Nothing. So you take a short pull, you pull off, but then nobody else wants to do that pace, then what? The pace slows down because they're gonna do the pace they wanna do. So it's like, they don't know how to ride together. They haven't learned that yet, even though they ride a lot. Just remember that not everybody studies the sport. So, you know, there's no wrong or right way, but if you're doing what doesn't make sense, if you want to ride alone, yeah, you can lift the pace and ride off the front, because that's the result you'll get. And if you don't like that result, then you might want to make some changes. So when they decide to wait here, see, this is the light is yellow. Those guys have been lagging back from the time we started. I knew they weren't going to make the light. They're not drafting. They're not there. So why should I wait for them? We all warmed up together. They chose to hang back. Well, then they want to be group B and C on the road. So I didn't understand waiting here. Some of them pull off to the side. You'll see in a little bit. Paul and I just keep moving. Once we get moving, we want to go. We come out here to ride, not wait for people. It wasn't necessary for them to lag back and then miss the light. So he's going to tell them that those guys missed the light. Who cares? They missed the light because they weren't on our wheel. What are we waiting for them for? So the same thing can happen again? So you see me, I stop pedaling. I'm watching to see what they're doing. So I see Andrew up there riding, and then this is Max on my left. My intent here right now is not to wait. I'm not going to wait for people who are not trying. They're not trying to ride with us. So what are you waiting for them for? So you can ride away from them again? So I'm watching them to see what they're doing. They're all coming up. Abby's coming up. He was standing on the corner. He wanted to be back there. He's coming to tell them that other people are not with us. Well, they were never with us from the time we turned. So what has changed? Nothing. It's like they don't want to do the pace we're doing up here, so let them form a second group. What are you waiting for them for? So they can do the very same thing again.
Jonathan, they got caught.
I look in my mirror from time to time. I look to see. I couldn't see them. I couldn't see the people they were waiting for. So for me, like, I'm not pulling off the road to wait for anybody who did not diligently stay with the group. That's what they're doing here. We just keep going. I don't come out here to waste my time. I come out here to ride my bike. You can see, you don't see anybody back there. So everybody that's here should just be going, we're group A. Forget the rest of them. That's what I'm telling Paul. I said the same stuff happened last week. They lag behind, they leave all these gaps. I mean, from the time we turned on Fishcreek, you saw how things were slow before we got going, but then it was slow because Andrew and them were waiting for everybody to get together, but it's like they were just standing there like they didn't want to ride with us. So yeah, you want to do a different pace, do a different pace. So I don't know why they're waiting here. People need to go to try to keep the group together, stay tight if you want to ride with the group. So when you go to a group ride and you want to ride with the group, stay close. That's what I'm telling you. I said they have no intention of riding with us. When we turned on Fishcreek, they created a gap intentionally. Because you haven't been riding because you're selling all your time. We're not gonna come on the highway to wait for you because you're out of shape. You need to ride yourself into shape to earn the right to ride with us. That's the way it is. So you ride at your level until you decide, just like you have a group A, B, C. So you're in the C group, you ride until you can ride with the B group, or you D, you ride until you can ride with the C group. And then you go through the levels. That's standard in any sport. We're not gonna wait for you. You need to come up to us. So if you're serious and you want to ride with the top guys, you keep your butt on your bike every week and quit chasing dollars.
Instead of concentrating on the riding, they're talking,
so
that's what happens.
It's like, you know, they want to come and chat about all kinds of useless stuff instead of concentrating on riding. That's what Paul's talking about.
Yep.
So we're just riding it. They're standing in the parking lot waiting on people that don't want to really ride. I'm not waiting for anybody who cried during the winter. Oh, it's too cold. Oh, it's too wet. Didn't ride. Now, what are you waiting for them for? They need to be in a group at their level. They don't need to ride with you. They haven't earned the right to ride with you. You don't be waiting on nobody. Don't wait for anybody. They want to ride with you. They need to ride up to your level. Same thing with you. You want to ride with the faster guys, you ride up to their level. You do the work so that you can ride with them. And then when you get there, you focus and you sit in instead of going to the front trying to be a hero. When you're riding with a group above your head, you don't go and take no major pulls. You sit in and you work on staying in the draft to be able to hang with them.
Yeah.
Only work when it's necessary. These guys haven't learned that in this group. They'll be out of shape. You haven't seen them in weeks. They haven't been riding. Then they'll come to the front and take a pull, and the next second they get dropped. They do all that kind of foolishness. I'm waiting for you. You will learn. Because if you keep waiting for them, they won't try. So right here, I'll go ahead and get into our riding. This is how we ride when it's just the two of us. So we decide we're just gonna ride. Basically zone 2 effort until we get to the hills and we decide what we want to do, but we're just riding here. We figure if we're doing 20 to 22 and they can't catch us, they don't need to be riding with us. So in a few kilometers they'll come up. And in fact, when they do come up, it's not everybody anyway. So all that waiting they did not pick up that many people, because the rest of the group, we started with a lot of people, half the group did not come with them. So it was a waste of their time to sit there waiting. People who want to be with you will be there. You guys see my pockets are loaded. When I stand, they don't move around much.
Yeah.
So the way your kit fits you makes a big difference in how things perform. It's nice to have the group, but you don't need to absolutely have them in order for you to improve, because most of the top riders do their best work alone. You need to be able to put your nose into the wind. I, for one, don't need the group. They are nice to have so that psychologically you don't have to think about pushing yourself, but I don't need the group. That's why the bicycle has one seat. You can see we can't even see them right there. So we just continue to keep the pace steady and even. We figure to do about 25 to catch us. So when you're doing specific work, you pick a particular group. There are different groups in this area that we're in. We don't have any one group. We got a group at Sun and Ski. We've got there's a Wednesday night group. There's a Tuesday night Hammerfest group. There are a lot of choices if you can meet those. The evening rides don't work for me during the week, so I have time in the morning to get a short ride in, and so that's what I do. But on the weekends, like on Sunday, Sun and Ski has a big group. I think probably 40 to 50 riders or more that leave from the store, and that's another option in the area as well. And sometimes, if that works, you hook up with that. So you find a group that is characteristic of the kind of work you want to do, and use them to lift your speed. So everything I'm talking about is normal for groups. Don't expect them to wait for you. You need to ride up to them. You need to ride up to their level. If they're too fast for you, learn how to draft. Don't waste your energy, because that will help you sit on the wheels and stay on the wheels better or easier. And then you got to do workouts during the week that will get you to their level. You can't take weeks off and expect to ride with the group. Not going to happen. A lot of times when you take weeks off, you're actually supposed to ride by yourself consistently. Then you go to the group to test the fitness you've gained. You can't be off the bike and then just show up for a fast group ride. You will be left alone.
Yep.
I just told Paul, I said I want to leave at 7 so they can waste more time. They'll leave at 7:15 because they sit around asking for who's not there. Is this person here yet? If it's time to go, you go with whoever's there. Who gives a crap who's not there yet? They need to be on time. If they're not on time, you take off. Waiting around for people. Please. You got one ride during the week. They can't show up on time. Please. You go to work 5 days, 6 days a week. You manage to get there on time. You can't make one ride. You don't need to be riding. There they are. And that's Rick bringing them. I'm not sure why he brought them, because in a few kilometers when we get to the overpass, he's going to get dropped. This is exactly what I was talking about. I see them in my mirror, so I lift my pace. Because they come up and they sit on our wheel. And that's another thing. When we were taught, especially for competitive cycling, unless these guys are, the guys that are up the road are going really hard, when you get up to them, you're like fresh reserves. You go around them. You let them know help is here. You don't come sit on their wheel. Because they've been out there, they need some help. That's Andrew. That's the guy I was talking about. So now he's going to take off like a bat out of hell. Then he's going to look behind. I just keep doing what I'm doing because I want to see. He rode up from them. I want to see why they let him open the gap. Now watch. He's going to look up. He's going to look behind. Right there. He looked behind. And then John is riding up to him. It's not that far ahead. I'm still waiting to see who else will come around. One thing you will find out about cycling, when the pace gets hard enough, you will never have a problem of finding a space for your wheel, meaning there will always be gaps for you to enter. That's Max's bike. Look, listen to the noise. I could not ride a bicycle like that. My bike is quiet, and it's not a new bike. Okay, it's not the age of the bike that makes it noisy. Noise means something's wrong. He's riding a carbon, or carbon is kind of like plastic. You're riding a bike that has metal and plastic interfaces. That noise means there's a problem between either your bottom bracket, your cranks, something. And his is really, really loud. This is the guy who brought him on the right. He's getting dropped. So instead of him bringing them to us, he should have sat in. That's the last we see of him there. So the effort that Andrew made and then he looked behind was completely for show because now he's here. Everybody's ridden up to him. And so I'm watching because what I'm looking at is the effort we put out on this hill. Yeah, that's Rick and them back there. We don't see them again. So the effort we put out on this hill, we're going to continue. We're going to keep going now. What I'm watching is that we've gone over the climb. And the pace has kind of lessened a bit because even though we're doing, say, 28, 29 miles an hour, it's slightly downhill here. So we're not going really full gas or anything. It's like zone 4 for me anyway. Bottom of zone 4. So I look around. I'm not thirsty. I just take a drink. When we're riding hard, I take a drink every few minutes. Let's say 5-7 minutes. I just take a little swig and put it back. So at least I know I'm getting fluid in my system. My attention right now is up front. Andrew's sitting on the right, the rest of the people on his wheel. Somebody lifted the pace for a bit. You see where I go? I stay on that wheel. I go. Paul's going to go to the left because this is Kenny. He's backing off. Paul goes to the left to get on my wheel. I'm staying with whoever is keeping the gap tight. This is how you work on your speed without wasting energy. We're traveling 27, 28 miles an hour. I don't need to be sitting in the wind. We're going to be turning left. And I noticed that Andrew and another rider accelerate up the road because they want to swing and carry the momentum. You see them going? I cut the corner here. I'm already in the gear that I need. This is an incline. So I start to sprint. Look at my watts, 700 plus. I'm not going to let up much. The road actually levels off a bit. So it gets to like 2.5%, yeah, around here. Then it will level off. Then I noticed that the guys who are starting the attacks back off and spread out across the road right here. There's like a lull. I'm like, it's not over. I'm gonna sprint and cut through in the middle. They don't get to dictate when we rest. That's what I'm doing that for. I know it's hard. There's a car up. I move to the right. You see where I am. This driver sees us all over the road. He stops. He's not even moving. But they want to dictate when they go hard, when we rest. No, I'm like, no, we're gonna go hard. You want to take a break? No, we're gonna go hard. Even though it's hard, let's go hard now. So I'm still riding. We're going downhill, so the watts are less, but I'm still going. The effort is still there. I'm in the middle of zone 4. You know, we're doing like 26, 27 miles an hour, whatever. I'm not even looking at speed. I'm just riding. Because unless you're really struggling, don't let one rider dictate the pace. They don't get to decide when you go hard, when you rest, and all of that foolishness. So I'll pull off the front right there. And I'm looking down at the wheels. I'm looking for gaps. And Paul tells me to get in right here. Paul tells me to get in. I give him a thumbs up so he knows I'm getting in. And you can see we're still working, but look, my heart rate has dropped like 6 or 7 beats from the time I was at the front. That's why you got to do those long rides in the winter, all throughout the year. You got to throw in long rides. You can't just sit on your couch and come and ride for 1 hour hard. You got to do more. So you see my heart went back to my heart rate went to 168. The person at the front that forced the pace, he's gassed right now. He's the one on the left. I can tell. And so I'm watching to see who does what. Because this road, when you turn, it's a grade. I was tempted. I wanted to go again, but I didn't want to ride too aggressively. I'm watching. Nobody really wants to take a pull. That's how you know. What I was talking about, you would never have a problem finding a gap. You can see when it's hard enough, there are gaps galore. There's always a place for you to fill in with your bike when it's hard. So the guy in the black goes by and wants to talk to Mike Barrera. It's like, this is not the time to talk. I don't understand these guys. Mike ignored him. Mike gave him some kind of short answer. I don't even know what question he asked him. It's not the time to talk. I take a little drink there. So Mike just took the gap that was there, pretty much. I'm sitting in because we've got another climb coming. It's a nice long ribbon chapel. It helps to know the course. And if you don't know the course, if you can get a route map, makes a difference to know when the hills or whatever is coming up, so you can make sure you get there somewhat fresh, or at least in good position, because you can always drift back. That's what it is. That's what it's about. The people you are seeing on the camera are the people who are coming through to take pulls. And that's what Paul and I talked about. And I told him, I said, if the ride's slow, yeah, you can turn it around and film people. If you want to show something, that's fine. But the rest of the time, forget those guys. The people who are coming through are the people who are coming to stick their nose in the wind. When I'm filming, I have no interest in people who just sit on the wheels all day. It's okay to sit on the wheels if the pace is too hard for you, but I'm talking about those who are sandbagging. The pace is not very hard for them, but they don't want to help the group, but they want to wait for a point in the ride where they say they're sprinting like there's some kind of prize. Because in a road race, nobody's going to tow you to the line. There's no point to that. Unless they're on your team. So you're better off putting your nose in the wind and getting used to that, to handling that kind of load, because most of the small races, and, you know, if you don't have big teams, you're gonna have to work. I'm checking for traffic. Let them know it's clear. So I was gonna take the lead here, but then the guy on the right starts accelerating. Well, I'm not gonna waste my energy. You want to stay at the front? Fine with me. There's be plenty more time to work. So I just slipped behind him. They like to sit up there till they slow down. Don't do that. When you go to take a cut, take your cut Make it reasonable and get off the front. Don't stay at the front until you start going slower. You know, you better make sure you got something, because somebody might come back and lift the pace when they come by. And then you'll be riding alone. But you took a strong pull, though, a monster pull, and you're off the back. Mr. Monster pull, right. Don't fall for those compliments. Oh, great pull. Yeah, give a crap about all that. Just take a pull and get off the front. I'm sitting on his wheel. I know we've climbed this faster. We've climbed this like 500-600 watts or whatever. So we're just kind of riding it right now. So now Kenny comes from the back, and John gets on his wheel. Clement Chimpoussard, he gets on his wheel. They're going up, and I see them coming, so I'm looking for a gap. And as soon as I see the gap, I take the fastest wheel going by, as you see. And Mike goes with me. Paul goes with Mike. As soon as we turn, I stand, keep my gear rolling. It's a bit of a grade, 2%. If you decide to sit in that situation, make sure you find the appropriate gear so you're not overloading your muscles. There's a car up, and a lot of times in this corner we'd go across the other lane, so people are making sure everybody's aware to use only one side of the road. These are neighborhoods, so the roads are not striped. Rural neighborhoods. Roads are mostly empty most of the time. Doesn't matter when you come out here. You get a car now and then. So somebody increased the pace here. That's Kenny who made the move on that hill. Now he's drifting back. So we already have a split. That split that you see, somebody's got to close it. That takes work. Instead of having a split, you need to do your best to stay close where possible. You know, if you can't hold the pace, you can't hold the pace. But now, Mike Barrera makes a move here. He goes past Andrew. He's going to drift to the right so he can take that corner. This is mill route. You see how close I am to in the turn? I'm going to stand. Yeah, so I can stay in the wheels. You do the work. Almost 600 watts when I started. This guy here in the black is expending a lot of energy just to get to my wheel. You should have already been there. You pay the price for that. So Paul's letting them come around because he's going to use them and save his energy And you can see he's in it because somebody has backed up. So Mike trying to get off the front. There's a car coming, so he's got to go back. So what you see about the group, if you notice, people are drifting by me and then I'm like letting them go or whatever. There's a dynamic. As long as I'm staying in the front third, I don't worry too much about my position. Because once it gets hard enough, you will ride around the people who can't put the power down. It's somewhere around here Abby starts to talk about, oh, with twins and this and I just ignore it. I ain't got time to be talking when I'm riding. When we're riding hard, it's not time to be chatting. Got better things to pay attention to. You look at my cadence, this road is going to go up in a little bit. I am going to just fan the gears. When you're riding, you gotta look right and left all the time. You gotta look around you, because wheels will appear on either side of you. So before you drift or change your line, always just, I always just look down. You don't need to look back. If you look down, you will see. So you see Doug moving up on my right? I know he's there. I can see him without turning my head. My peripheral vision picks him up, and I hold my line. He doesn't have to do anything. This is when Abby wants to talk. How is this an appropriate place for a conversation? I look at him like he's out of his mind. Talking about with twins. When the pace is low and subdued, you can chat all you want. I mean, we're working, you want to chat. What are we going to be talking about? You know? I mean, I can talk, but I got better things to focus on at this moment. I'm watching the wheels. You see the speeds. I mean, 47K is about almost 30 miles an hour. So now, this is that area where they like to sprint up that climb. The sprint is going on. There is a split up ahead. And at this point, I don't see Paul in my mirror, because Paul's been behind me the whole time. There's a gap here. There are several riders behind Paul. One of them would come around and give him a wheel. Even though we're up the road there, that is not Group A. That is Group B. Our group is further up. When we turn, you will see I put an arrow there to show, because when I don't see Paul, I make a U-turn on the highway to come back. Because once we turn, those guys turn off the power. They do all this stuff and they can't maintain it. So this is Mike S5 came around Paul and gave him a wheel. So they're riding up to the corner. They will see us turn, and you will see the splits. I think I put an arrow. I've got a couple of arrows that I put there. So look on the street right there. That's like 2 or 3 of us right there. 3 of us up front. And right there, they turn off the power. Look at my watts, 0. So I turn around. We're up the road and you don't want to work. I turn around and come back. I'm like, you guys not serious. Because last week when I did that by myself, I kept going. They turn off the power. So I turn around. I'm on the other side of the highway now looking for Paul. I don't see him. I'm checking for cars. And so much, pretty much. So this is part of what we did with our Saturday. More to come. Keep the doctors fired. Get those K's in.